Boom. Keep them coming.
What's going on, everyone? Bobbybarks here, and welcome back to my FM23 Journeyman series, where we start from humble beginnings and hopefully work our way up to the top of the football pyramid. We are on part 11, I think this is, around about season 9, season 10, something like that, where we are now on our 4th club, working in Mexico at Monterry FC. We've had one season here already, and in the last video you will have seen that we did the domestic double in winning the opening stage and the closing stage of the league. However, we struggled in the cup competition. So we have something called the Leagues Cup, which we lost out to Cruz Azul in, and we have the North American Champions League, where we were beaten again by Cruz Azul in the final. So a little bit of heartbreak there and disappointment. Hopefully this season we can come back stronger. I'm on the club information screen here. I told you that I'd download the kits, which I've done, and they look quite pretty. I quite like the look of these Monterey FC kits. I did actually look online, see if I could buy one, but they was quite expensive and out of my price range for a football shirt. But anyway, let me show you what we've done in the off-season with transfers, ins and outs. So, not much in the way of incomings, just 3 players signed so far. Thomas Barrison from Newcastle, or Thomas Barrison from Newcastle, is an Argentine right winger who can play inside forward, which is that role that we have there in our formation. He was a freebie from Newcastle. We picked him up at the end of his contract. He's a big player for us. He's going to be a very good addition to the squad. Thomas, again, 2 Thomases. Correa from Talares. A bit of an outlay, 6 million, could potentially rise to 6.25 million. He's a centre-back slash defensive midfielder, so he'll help cover off some of the positions in the squad that were a little bit lacking in squad depth quality. So he's coming there to bolster that. And Alejandro Garcia was a bit of a coup for us, really. Top European clubs were interested in him, from Puebla. He's a left winger, inverted winger. He's very, very good and Mexican, so we wanted to make sure that we covered that squad regulation off there with the foreign player limitations. So he came in for 5 million and £5 million release clause. Like I say, he came to us, he picked us, which I was quite pleased about. And if you remember, we have Candido that plays down the left, but we didn't really have an adequate backup, and now we've got 2 very good left wingers that will contribute to our season. There were some players that left, as you can see on your right. We generated about 2.7 million through players that left at this stage of the season. Now, like I said to you in the last video, our transfer window is a little bit different to European transfer windows. What I did manage to do in the off-season as well was renegotiate contracts for players who had minimum fee release clause and get rid of those. So any players that were potentially going to leave, I could get maximum value for, and that does happen a little bit later in the season, where some top European clubs come in for some of the players that I'm not actively trying to sell, that I probably wouldn't have sold, but I do try to treat these saves as though they're realistic. So I think, you know, if a club is offering more than market value for one of our players, where I've either got the squad depth to cover it, or I can find a replacement for cheaper than what I'm selling the current player for, I'm probably going to do that, because I think that's what the club would do in real life. I'm not going to purposely just hold on to players because I'm selfish about what I want to win in that division, because I don't think that presents a realism of what I'm trying to do. And I tried, you know, I know it's a game, but I try to be as realistic as I possibly can with it. So at this stage of the season, before we go into our opening games, this is what the squad is looking like. I've sorted it by ability, so you can see down there just how good this team is now. It is very, very good. And a lot of the players that are younger down at the bottom of your screen that are only 2 stars actually have quite high potential ratings. So I think we're in a very, very promising position with this squad to be able to challenge for the title again, but also those cups that we lost out on. So I'll jump forward halfway through the season and we'll see how we've got on so far. So we're at the halfway point of the season here, and I've brought you back to the transfer history screen. because you can see on your left-hand side I've signed another 2 players, one being Mehmet Altin from Borussia Dortmund, who is a right-back, and one being Paulo, which is from one of the Brazilian teams, I don't know who SPT is, for 8.5 million, rising to potentially 9.5 million. He's an exceptional centre midfielder. Between him and Hannibal in the centre midfield, that's going to be extremely strong going forward. But the reason for those purchases, as you can see on your left-hand side, we've now generated 41 million in player sales. So like I said to you a little bit ago, we had some offers from European clubs for some of our players, rejected them, come back in with excessive bids that I just don't feel like the club would have rejected. You know, I think if I'd have kept rejecting them, the players would have been unhappy. It caused disharmony in the squad, and that's one of the key things I like to try and keep when I'm playing Football Manager. I like to try and keep the full squad happy as much as I possibly can, and by rejecting offers for players that you probably would have sold, I think that contributes to a negative atmosphere, which I didn't particularly want. So as you can see down your right hand side, we sold Fabrizio Gonzalez to Al Shabab for 10.5 million, potentially rising to 13.25 million. He was the Uruguayan right back who he was 30 years old. He was on £30,000 a week, so he was an expensive player to have. He was an old player to have, and I could bring Mehmet Altin in from Borussia Dortmund for £350,000, who not quite as good, but can develop to be as good. So I'm quite content with that arrangement. Luis Uribe from Wolfsburg, he came up through our academy. He was the youth player that I brought into the first team kind of halfway through last season and started using him, and he was fantastic, absolutely brilliant. And Wolfsburg have recognised that. 25.5 million, potentially rising to 30.5. I had to sell him for that. There was no way we weren't going to sell a player for that amount of money. That's helped me reinvest back into that centre midfield area with Paulo. And we'd already brought Thomas Barrison in from Newcastle, like I told you at the start of the video. He came in on a freebie, so he was going to take over as that first choice right winger. So I was quite, again, comfortable with that. Mark Sanders went out on loan. He's a player that's come up through the youth. He's actually American, but I think he's Mexican born, so we were all right for the quota on the foreign player limit with him. But I needed him to get game time. He's got very high potential. He's a very good player, but he wasn't going to play with the dominance I've got on that left-hand side with Candido and Garcia. So we will loan Mark Sanders out. Berrien Toss has gone. He was just a reserve team player, as was the majority of the others down there that you can see. I let that fella go on a free because he was a high wage for a youth player. Never really developed into the first team. But yeah, I'm overly quite happy with the transfer business that we've done. I think we've still got similar quality in the squad, but we've generated a hell of a lot of money for the club. So very content. But did that transfer to results on the pitch? Well, let's have a look. So this was the league table from the opening stage of the season. And as you can see, we finished top and we actually went on to win those playoffs as well. So we were crowned champions, and rightly so. I think we've been very, very dominant compared to the other teams in there. America and Tigres have been our closest challengers, which are the two big clubs as well as ourselves in this division. So it's no surprise to find them up there challenging with us, but again, we conceded very little. We scored quite a lot of goals, and we're just the best team in the league, and there's no doubt about that. It's become, first season was a challenge, but we overcame it and won both opening stage and closing stage. Whereas now this season, I feel like it is too easy, to be honest. We've gelled the team, implemented the tactic, got the staffing right, we've got the squad right, improved on what we inherited. So it's just become a little bit too easy. It is a big club in this league, so we've been able to make inroads fairly quickly, more quickly than what we could with any of the other clubs we've been at. So yeah, comfortable victories. The only points that we dropped, we had 2 draws, both at home, ironically, to Toluca and Tigres. Toluca have been quite a decent team. As you can see, they finished 4th this season. They've been quite a decent side this season. But the loss came away at Atlante, I think it was. Yeah, we lost to Atlante 1-0. which was a bit of a surprise result, and that was like towards the end of the season as well. So yeah, it's been pleasing, but comfortable. And when it comes to the Leagues Cup, we actually went on to win it. So, well, kind of. I'll elaborate on that a little bit in a minute. But when it comes to the Leagues Cups, we play teams from America in it as well. So LAFC, Houston, Columbus, and then we played American teams Puebla and America in the semi-final and playoff final. We didn't have to play Cruz Azul, which was good. So we managed to get through to the final and win that. And then you go to something called the Campeones final, or something like that. So yeah, we got through all that. No trophy at the end of this point, though. Like I say, you got to go to this Campeones final, which we played LAFC in again and won 4-0. Easy pickings, really. We're playing against an American team. The Mexican division is far more reputable than the American Major League Soccer, so all the better players are in the Mexican League, and the Mexican teams are far superior. So I was confident we'd win, and we did. Turned it on 4-0. Candido, Escobar and Garcia all scoring and winning us that trophy. So our first cup competition win with Monterry. Very pleasing. And when it comes to the North American Champions League, well, we've got through to the knockout stages where we'll play LAFC again. We ended up with Tijuana and Toluca in our group, who were from our domestic competition as well. We beat Tijuana 6-2. We always have very good high-scoring results against them. And we drew away to Toluca, who I said to you, quite a decent side this season. They've improved their squad from last season, so they're a bit of a rival. And then the two American teams, we're beating Minnesota 5-0 away, and Montreal 1-0, who there might be a Canadian team to be fair, beat them 1-0 at home. And like I say, through to the knockout stages in the second round, where we'll play the team we beat in the Campeones final. So this is a squad sorted by average rating at a halfway stage, end of the opening stage of the league. Thomas Madison has been fantastic. He's a really, really good player, so I think I've worked that quite well, picking him up on a free and selling Luis Uribe to Wolfsburg for what could be 30 million. So we've done some real good stuff there in the transfer market with that. Hannibal has been fantastic this season. He's improved again. What a player he is, what a find he's been. Gonzalez is his highest goal scorer, 16 goals in 22 games. Thomas Marquez has been good again. Candido's been good again. Mehmet Altin, who's coming at right back, he's the new signing for the right back position. 7.24 average rating, 4 assists in 18 starts. He's been another great find, £350,000. Can't go wrong with some of that. So yeah, all in all, we're doing great. On course to winning what we need to win. So I'll jump forward to the end of the closing stage, and you can see where we're up to with certain things. Before I get to the end of the season, I've just jumped forward to the 31st of March 2032 here, because I want to show you the next gen 2032 best wonder kids in football, the 50 best wonder kids in football, and our player is number one. He's won the next gen award. So Alejandro Garcia, he's the kid that I signed for the 5 million when I said other big European clubs were interested in him. Coming as that inverted winger on the left, he's competing with Candido. He is an absolute steal and an absolute talent. Like I said, best wonder kid in the game. He's the best wonder kid in the world, and he's playing for us in Monterrey, in Mexico. And he's just, look at the stats on him, the attributes. He's going to be a world beater. He's only 19 at the minute. He's going to end up at one of the big European clubs before long. Okay, we've jumped forward to the end of the season. I'm just going to show you the transfers ins and outs again, because we have increased again on the outs. We've actually made 89 million this season. We've let some other players go. Firstly, I'll talk to you about the incomings. Diego Flores has come in for 2.3 million, potentially rising to 2.7. He's actually going to come in and replace Daniel Gustavo Duran, who we sold to Liverpool but have brought back on loan. So Diego Flores has been loaned back to Mazatlan until the end of the season. Duran sold to Liverpool but loaned back to us until the end of the season. So we have Duran until the end of the season, and then Flores will come in the off season to replace him when Duran goes back to Liverpool. So quite pleased with what we've been able to do. So as you can see on your right hand screen, we've sold another player to Wolfsburg, which is Antonio Gonzalez. He's gone for 17.5 million. And we've also sold Alejandro Medina to Bayer Leverkusen for 15 million. He's one of the centre backs. Alex Seward has gone to Fulham for 8.75 million, potentially rising to 9.5. I'd already brought Paulo in, so Paulo and Hannibal are playing centre midfield together anyway. Seward had dropped to being a squad player, so pleased that we've been able to make significant money on him. I think we bought him for like 800,000, something like that. So we made significant money on him. And Duran, 6 million, but potentially rising to 14.5 million, and he's been loaned back to us. Scott Martin was backup goalkeeper as well last season. He's gone to America for 500,000. So yeah, we've made this club millions. They're going to be in a far better position financially, far better position with the playing squad to what we inherited. We're going to leave this squad in a far better place than what we did when we first took over. Now it's my intention that if we can win the North American Champions League, we will move on from Monterry and find another club. But I kind of want to win the North American Champions League before we do that. Can I do that this season? Let's have a look. Well, there's a chance. We've got to the final. And we overcame Cruz Azul to get there. Quite comfortably as well. We beat them 3-2 away and 7-2 at home. Then we beat America 4-1 at home and drew 2-2 away. We've now got to play Toluca in the final. But like I've said to you in this video, Toluca have been a good team this season. It's going to be tough. I'm just hoping we can overcome that defeat in the final last season and win it this season. So here we are for the Champions League final. Toluca is going to be a tricky opponent. We've got a very, very strong squad out. In fact, our strongest squad, I would say. I've gone with Candido on the left-hand side because he's tried and tested. He's been in this position before. He remembers that heartbreak from last season, and I'm hoping he can help put it right in the final this season. Barrison wins the ball. Marquez Hannibal's given it away to Esquivel, but a good save from Spider-Man himself, Michael Morales. Not starting good. Toluca have the better of the possession. Flores is putting it in. They're knocking it about well here at Toluca. It's making me panic a little bit. And another good save there. Actually, a goal kick. It must have hit the bar and gone over. And again, Toluca on the attack. And they've just put it wide. We are dicing with death. Please, please, let's get into this game. We've got a long time without any highlights here now, and this is us. Mehmet Altin's bringing it forward. Barrison's coming forward. Has chipped it in, but decent capture from their keeper, and they're going to try and play it out from the back. That is the end of the highlight. Statistics-wise, they've had more possession. We've had more shots. We've had the equal amount on target. That is half-time. Okay, I've fired them up at half-time a little bit. It should help motivate them to get a bit more control on this game. Disappointed with the statistics. The possession has not been good from us. This is a free kick on the edge of the box. Paulo is going to whip it in. 1-0. And Monterry take the lead. Come on, boys. What a signing he's been for us. Absolutely wonderful player. He makes Hannibal look second-rate, to be honest. And he's 6'4", I think, as well. Candido's also 6'4". We have a big team now. Big team of players. Toluca are knocking it about again. Altin tries to get it away. That's a looping ball in and just over the bar. There, we've got 20 minutes left on the clock. Still struggling to get his foot on the ball and keep possession. Altin's putting it in. Barrison's on it now. Bring it back to Altin. Rincon. Paolo again. Good save. Not off the bar again by the looks. So it keeps looking like they're saving it, but it's off the woodwork. Five minutes left. No substitutions have been made as yet. I'm going to bring Sanders on for Barrison, but that is full time. Not much highlights there towards the end of the game, but Monterry are North American champions of the continent. And we have added another trophy to our cabinet. Look at us hauling that trophy aloft. That's 2 Champions Leagues from 2 different continents. Asia and North America are conquered. And we will move on if we can find a job. I have no interest in staying in Monterey. We've won everything we need to win. No other club in North America. Wouldn't mind going to South America. We have South Africa unlocked, but we'll have to see if anything comes up there. And South American leagues are unlocked as well. European leagues are now all unlocked, so we could potentially go to Europe. But we will see. We'll have a look. So this is a team sorted by average rating. Duran came back, scored 10 in 8 starts. You can see why Liverpool wanted him. Thomas Barrison, what a signing. Free transfer from Newcastle. 20 assists in 43 appearances. 10 assists in 18 from Paolo. Told you he was making Hannibal look like a second-rate player, although Hannibal himself got 15 assists in 55 starts. And also Alejandro Garcia, 15 assists in 36 starts. Actually did better than Candido, who got 7 assists but 12 goals in 24 starts. So really, really pleased with what we've achieved here in Monterrey in Mexico. Couldn't have gone any better. I'll go play the closing stage off screen. I'm not going to come back and show you because I don't really care. You shouldn't care. So I'll show you how that develops in the next video, and hopefully when you come back and we reintroduce you to where we are, we're in a new club, we're in a new continent, and we're starting all over again. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for everybody that is tuning in to watch, that is following this series. Really appreciate any comments in the comments section. It helps with interaction for the video, makes me motivated a little bit more to make videos for this series and future FM content. FM24 is obviously due out first week in November. I'm actually on holiday. I'm going abroad mid-October, so when I come back, hopefully I'll have the beta and be able to release some content for you on FM24. Please like the video if you liked it. That does help with engagement and sharing the video out there amongst people. And also, if you're not subscribed, subscribe. But more importantly, have a good day. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.